Director Professor Shivaji Bandopadhyay, our today motivational speaker, former Director, Space Center, former Director of Physical Research Laboratory, and distinguished scientist, Professor Tapan Misra, esteemed faculty colleagues present in this virtual gathering, and beloved students. At the outset, on behalf of the institution, we'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude and thankfulness to Professor Tapan Misra for being present today and grace today's virtual event with his motivational speech. Before we move to the motivational talk by Professor Tapan Misra, I would like to invite our Honorable Director, Sir, for his welcome address.
Yeah, very good evening to Shri Tapan Misra. Welcome back to NIT Silchar, but obviously in a virtual mode. And good evening to my colleagues and my dear students. As we already know, we are going to our induction program starting from the Monday. And this is the motivational talk series that we have. So more are to come. And I understand that we are basically, say, if we have been able to listen to Shri Tapan Misra standing in that big stadium, if you remember on the very first day during the orientation program, I showed you one of the glimpses of our largest sports stadium where the then first year BTech students were sitting and Shri Tapan Misra was actually addressing the students. I think that kind of thing basically motivates us much more. But in the current situation when that physical meeting is not possible, you try to visualize yourself. That is, you are placed in that stadium and the big one, seating capacity 1500, and today the number till now is I am expecting more to come, but the stadium needs to be filled up because Shri Tapan Misra is already with us, and obviously that is what he will be talking about. That is when he asked me about the topic, I said only one thing, that is the BTech first year students who have fought with all the kinds of tensions, and there is thinking that is what might happen in their future, what the future holds for them. But these boys and girls, as we already know, along with Shri Misra also, they are very innovative in nature. So how the innovation basically comes among the students and different stories of innovations and how to basically carry on in your life. So his profile will be shared by our colleague Dr. Wasim Arif, and you will get an idea. And after that, we'll be sharing the with Shri Misra. So Dr. Arif first.
Thank you once again for setting up the evening for our students. Our students are extremely wise, they're extremely talented, but what we need is motivation. Life without motivation sometimes makes no sense. I'm extremely happy and privileged to read out the extensive profile of Professor Tapan Misra. Professor Tapan Misra was born in 1961 in Raigada, Odisha, India. He had his schooling in Ramakrishna Mission, Rohora, and Ramakrishna Mission, Narendrapur. He was awarded the prestigious Sir J.C. Bose National Talent Search Scholarship from Government of West Bengal in 1981. He was graduated in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering from Jadavpur University, Calcutta in 1984. He was awarded with DSc, Doctor in Science, honoris causa, by his alma mater, Jadavpur University, in 2016. He was also conferred with Distinguished Alumnus Award from Jadavpur University. Since 1984, he has joined Space Application Center ISRO and has been a lead figure in evolution of microwave remote sensing payloads capable of all weather and day-night imaging in Space Application Center Ahmedabad. He is internationally acclaimed as a father of synthetic aperture radar in India. His most notable contribution was leading development of C-band ACR payload of radar imaging satellite, which is known as RESAT-1, based on active antenna concept. RESAT-1 was not only India's first space-borne ACR or SAR system, but also India's first space-borne active antenna, another complex and he is also acclaimed to usher in high throughput communication satellites HTS in India. He led the development of India's first three HTS systems, namely GSAT 19, GSAT 11, and GSAT 20. He led development of many airborne and space payloads. Notable of them are miniaturized X-band ACR for space-based imaging, airborne ACR systems in LSC X-bands, dual frequency ACR for Chandrayaan-2, wind scatterometer, space-borne and ground-based radiometer payloads from Ku to millimeter wave bands. Many crucial ground-based measurement systems and tools. Notable among them are world's first time-gated planar near-field antenna measurement system, India's first cryogenic blackbody targets for microwave radiometry measurements, picosecond accuracy group delay measurement system. He is also acclaimed internationally for development of many new and complex algorithms and software for processing of SAR data on multi-processing system. He was granted 6 patents, 1 pending patent, 4 copyrights, and more than 35 papers to his credit in various reputed journals. He also held positions like he was former director of Space Application Center ISRO, former director of Physical Research Laboratory PRL India, distinguished scientist, senior advisor to Chairman ISRO, adjunct professor to IIT Kharagpur, adjunct professor at IIT Jodhpur, past president of. He was also elected as Fellow of Indian National Academy of Engineering in 2007, corresponding member of International in 2018, Fellow of Indian Society of Remote Sensing in 2016, Fellow of IETE in 2016, and Fellow of Indian Society of Systems for Science and Engineering. Awarded and facilitated with IO Mastram Vikram Sarabhai Research Award in 2004, ISRO Merit Award in 2008, ISRO Team Excellence Award in 2012, Ruchi Bharat Gaurav Award in 2015, Distinguished Alumnus by Jadavpur University in 2017, and Bharat Gaurav Samman Award 2018 by Jai Bharat Foundation. My dear students, it is our privilege and we are really happy to have Professor Tapan Misra as our resource person today. I would like to request Professor Tapan Misra to start his session and motivate all our bright young minds.
Good evening, Professor Shivaji Bandyopadhyay, my friend, Director of NIT Silchar, and all the freshers, and I hope, and all the esteemed teachers and professors and the staff of NIT Silchar. It's very, gives a different feeling. I am transported to my day in 1980 when I was in Jadavpur for the first time. And Shivaji must have been, preparing for exams that time. And exam means a class 12 exam. And it is something great feeling, to come in touch with the students or the fresher students who are just beginning their career and I am here, at the almost near the fag end of career. It's very, very different feeling altogether. Let us see the first presentation. My dear friends, all of you have come here to become engineers. And what is told as engineers? You have to apply science to make our life better. We call it applied science. But none of the people, tell you that it's not just applied science. It is also a creative science. We are no less creative than a sculptor. Only our medium is different, and our sculpture not only pleases, but it also helps to lessen the troubles in life. And somehow, this creative part is missing, in our thought process. I request my friends that they should not think themselves just an engineer, just a nutball fellow, not just a person to write software. They are going to create beautiful pieces of hardware. They are going to create beautiful pieces of software, which is not only aesthetically nice, but it is very helpful to make our life better. When we make our life better with a pleasure, there cannot be anything better than that. I take you back to our ancient engineering. Just left side top, Temple of Puri. It's a gorgeous temple, but that's a beautiful thing. The site is selected such that hardly any cyclone ever hits that place. I am amazed, that Orissa every year it is ravaged, but you go to Puri, it is hardly ever ravaged. Actually, that as if the winds bypass. Our forefathers knew how to select a site, how to scientifically select, so that it becomes an unique temple for people to visit. Just next to temple, there's a Shiva temple of Ellora. It's a grand temple built in 8th century. But just think of, it has been cut from a granite hill. As if, it is cut from top and the temple is built, and that is not, it's not some pillars are built, some floors are built, some slabs are brought, some, put one after another, following all the principle of architecture and civil engineering, but it is a cut from an one solid rock. In fact, I give this example today. If I ask mechanical engineers, civil engineers, they say, how will you build it? They say, we'll build a giant CNC machine to cut such a rock. You just cannot do such a beautiful sculpture. But imagine those days, you do not know what technology they applied. I am sure that the technology was not very sophisticated, but the technology was good enough and simple enough to give you such a grand temple. I just give it another example. Harappa Mohenjo-daro. It is built. You must feel that a set of people of a civilization 5,000 years old built a well-planned city with all civic infrastructure today, which is available today for all our. I have not seen Mohenjo-daro. I have seen one such Harappan site local in near my house. It is 65 kilometers from Ahmedabad. And I just, whenever I visit or I take a visitor, I wonder, those bricks still standing, ravages of weather and ravages of nature for 5,000 years, and they are intact. Sometimes I wonder how they built this Giza pyramid, that great sphinx, or how in early 1940s, before or late, before the Second World War, they built the first suspension bridge over Hooghly in India. It was a great, it is still surviving. It is not rusted, and it is, it is carrying so much load every day and all. And many new bridges have fallen, but this bridge is surviving. We built RI set in India. I was associated with it. I still feel, that a system which I led the building with a 1500 subsystem, 6,000 connectors, never failed in its lifetime of 5 years. I give credit to ISRO to building such a great piece of hardware with such a complexity, working unattended within space. And we're talking through internet today. Just imagine in our college life, we could not imagine, we live a duality of life. It's like the duality of matter. We have a virtual life and we have a real life, and how smoothly we transition between virtual to real life and real life to virtual life. We have a two identities, one real identity with our friends, with our relatives, with our family members, and we have a virtual identity which we have friends whom we have not seen, we have not talked, but we have feeling great connection with the friends. This is something great piece of engineering, which creates another world in another domain with another set of realities and another set of convictions and rules. That's today when you have prepared for going into engineering, you have imagined, I will become electronics engineer. I'll become electrical engineer. I'll become mechanical engineer. Why? Because colleges offer the course. Obviously, colleges cannot offer all the courses to all the people together. It is just impossible for the colleges to do that. But the problem of the students in India, or maybe in many countries, the people remain engineering of the discipline which they have studied. But when you want to build something, it cannot happen one engineering. It can have it has to draw from many engineering disciplines. And unless we have an ability to understand different branches of engineering and utilize and harness them, we cannot build a great hardware. We may be specialist, an electrical specialist, or electrical specialist, or mechanical specialist, but will not be able to build in future's Ellora temple. I I give an example. I remember uh, my center, space application center. There was a where pe- people are building microwave payloads, millimeter wave payloads. And everybody knows the millimeter wave guides and all, they are very thin. And the size accuracies goes to some microns, some 10 microns or better. And the normal CNC machines, what we have, and in fact most of the places we have a 50 to 100 or 200 micron accuracy, and more or less it is around 200 micron. And they raised an indent. It was some foreign party, obviously will supply, and a very costly piece of hardware. And when the file came to me at the director's sack, I went through the file. I found that most of the cost is going preparing the site, maintaining the temperatures. It has to have a vibration isolator. It has to have a air conditioner of a 23 plus minus 2. I said that is not the way to build a machine. Somebody is fooling somebody. And I scrapped that file and I called this engineer. They tried to understand what goes in CNC machine. And to my surprise, I found that a CNC machine needs three type of expertise. One set of mechanical engineers will do the mechanical engineering. Another set of people, this is electrical engineering people who design the drive and power systems. And third set of people are the software people, who have to write the CNC programming. And surprising, these three sets of engineers who are from the three different compartments, they never talk to each other. They don't try to understand each other. Then I understood that I picked up some three or four, I think, people, mechanical engineers, took them for a training for a rudimentary power system, drive systems training, took them for a CNC programming, and also I learned that CNC programming is one of the simplest programming, even a kid can learn it. It is much, much easier than even an assembly level language programming. And that the problem of CNC machine, that there is a problem of mechanical fabrication and orthogonality of the three axes. There is a nonlinearity of the mechanical guide system. There is a nonlinearity of the electrical drive system, and there is an also the software issue. It is somebody has to take the measure the orthogonality of the system and make a correction in the job profile cam, that what is the actual orthogonality, and accordingly they will transform. They have to do it this nonlinearities of the linear and the electrical system, and then calibrate them and incorporate the CNC machine. And when one set of engineers having three different expertise, they could understand. And lo and behold, they built a machine which is a 6-micron accuracy measured. They could not, and doesn't need a vibration isolator. It doesn't need great uh, air conditioning system, maintaining temperature plus minus 2 degrees centigrade and all, nothing. This is all hogwash. And why it could be, why we're not making, I realized why we're not making great big hardwares. It is all because we are compartmentalists. That day we shatter the compartment of engineering, will become a true engineering. There is only branch of engineering, that is engineering, and science has many, many manifestations, and we should be mentally adapt that for the job, whatever type of understanding, whatever type of science, whatever type of engineering is needed, we need to learn as and we move in our career. And we apply the new knowledge. We should be ready to acquire a new knowledge, ready to apply. And the day our engineers understand this thing, will make great hardware, will make great cars like Tesla, we will make great machines like Germans, will make great chemical items like a French people, and will make great computers, great mobile phones like Taiwanese and the South Korea. And it is only when we try to respect all other branches of knowledge of engineering and try to, I am not telling that in 4 years you will learn everything. It is not possible. But as and when you feel the demand to learn something new, you must be prepared to learn that new thing. And engineering, when it becomes a continuing education, then only you will be a successful engineer in life. That all of us, want to live a life in cocoon. We want to live a same life. We want to live, do the same thing daily, because then you don't have to break your head. It is like this. Uh, uh, they say let us say a station master, railway station master. He every day comes the same set of four or three or two lines, same set of signals. Almost the train routines are same, and every day he does the same. I am not telling that's no less a job. I mean, it is the all safety depends on the repetitive job and all, but he does it every day. And he knows that then his daily life routine is set. He will come to a platform at this time. He knows that train will come, which train goes late and all. And it's a nice life and goes back home, attends all marriages, attends everything. And, and most of the people, in an engineering, they are put in the job which is a repetitive type, the production type. Same thing, same machine, same people, and same place. And when you give them to do something new, they hesitate. The first feeling comes to them, what happens if I fail in the job? That is the first thought comes. Then who will do? Why should we break head and all? I think this is a loser's mentality. I would request you, whenever in your life you are asked to do something different, please accept that challenge. Because doing something new, doing something different has a different charm. It's a Mark Twain told very nicely. A man who carries a cat by the tail, you please try in your house and you will realize that and learn something he can learn in no other way. In fact, when you try to build something new, when you try to take a newer responsibility which you are not accustomed to, you will see that you have to learn many new things. You have to meet new people. You have to plan differently and you have to execute. And creating something new gives you a pleasure which you can get from nowhere. And when you grow up in your career, when you grow up in your life, be look out for a new challenging job and please accept it, because if you do that newer and more challenges will actually make India better and better. And this is a doing new things and taking risk. This is together. What is risk? It is that you have a fear of losing, but you still do it. I am from present in Gujarat. Gujarat, if you say, more the risk in share market, more the earning. Life is like that. The people who grow up, who become big, who become successful, they take tremendous risk. And nobody else defined the risk leadership better than Swami Vivekananda. He defined take risk in your life. If you win, you can lead. And if you lose, you can guide. In life, you have to take risk. And you see, all the leaders in life, you'll see they have taken very, very risk. Only the degree of risk is different. So the outcome is also different. And you see that some of the people who lose out in that, they start out with taking risk. Then, they meet with an adverse situation, they lose out and they stop taking risk. Then they will guide you. How they will guide you? Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do, don't, if you try, you will lose. You lose your money. Then they'll say that it's like, the person, who could not ride a good cycle and he's afraid to ride a cycle. He'll tell you, don't try to ride cycle. If you fall, you'll injure your knee, or you can break your teeth, for which you have to suffer for the whole life, or you'll hit your head, which can damage your brain. He'll frighten you. That is how they guide. In life, Many times we lose out, then we do not want to take any further, then we put themselves ourselves and then we frighten others. And whenever somebody guides you, भाई तुम ऐसा मत करो, तुम हार जाओगे, तुम ऐसा मत करो, तुम वो ना करो, please you understand he is a loser and don't listen to him. Follow the people who have taken this. See, you have only one life, and it is the risk in your life, taking risk in your career, risk in engineering, risk in understanding, then only you can make a great engineering. Just think of the Empire State Building. It was built in the early part of 20th century. And just think of what amount of design, no risk was taken. Those days, computer was not there. They had no calculation of this. And then you see, with this, they built it. I always give a high salute to the Apollo people. Those days there was no computer. There were hardly any analog computer. The transistors was a big, like egg size and all. But they have taken man to the moon. Today's date, if somebody takes a man to the moon, we have so many simulators. We have so many understanding. We have so many understanding of Einstein's general law of gravity. But then in the Apollo program, they did it. They took risks. They lost life, but they made the human civilization proud. You look at this picture, this actually in the morning, and I was taking a snap. Sometimes I like the nature snap. It's a beautiful, partly lit garden, partly lit lawn. Look carefully. There's one cat is on the prowl and targeting one mana. In fact, the moment I took the snap, the mana became history. It was eaten up by the cat. It's a human mind is like this. The person, it is very difficult to understand. A person with a very calm voice, but you don't know what goes in his mind, what difficulties he's feeling, what are the complex process of thinking it is going. I can tell you that engineering is much, much easier subject compared to psychology. As an engineering, you have to build machines. You have to use mathematical equations, computers, simulation, or your knowledge to build such a hardware. But for building, you need people because that the end of the day, engineering is a teamwork because you alone cannot do everything. Because the great architectures, great machines, great satellite programs, it is, they almost thousands of people work. It's an amazing, how thousands of people of a different mind, different, but they work, behave as if in unison. It is like a Bose-Einstein condensate. At the 0 degree Kelvin, the matter or molecules behave like waves. Human beings, all the big team behave like waves. How is it possible? It's all possible by the appropriate leaders, who understand the team members. And that's a learning engineering, learning science is one part of the story, but in your student life, a great deal of effort has to go how to understand people. And what is the best way to understand people? You do sympathetical. You try that this man may be having this difficulty. He maybe has a difficulty in understanding. He may have a family problem. He may have a physical problem, and try to alleviate. Because if you can take care of problem, the people deliver. But there is another way of handling people. Put yourself, understand them empathetically. Put yourself in the shoe. Let us see that Arif ji is for some reason, very frustrated. And I am not telling he's frustrated and all. But if Shivaji ji tries to advise this thing, no, you should not be frustrated. You should teach, you should take classes, you take research program and all. It is one way you will not be able to convey. But if Shivaji ji puts himself in Arif ji's place and tries to think what Arif ji is getting into problem, and then from Arif ji's viewpoint, he tries to solve his problem, probably Shivaji ji will get a much better solution empathetically than better sympathetically. He may be able to extract better work from better study, better engineering from Arif ji than he may be just to be looking at him as a symptomatically. And if you have to work as a team, you must have a great human connect. In fact, the great leaders, at the end of the day, they may not be the great scientist or a great knowledgeable, but they may be great connect with a people. I'll give an example later on. Where do you get connect? If you do classes, if you do all this, it is very important. You learn subjects, but you all you do alone. Maybe a lab work you'll be doing with a 4-member as a team. But the human being has such a big variety. The Deva na jananti manusya kutova. Even the gods cannot know how many types of variations are there. How as a human being you will learn them. So more number of people you interact, you will have a more understanding of. So when you study, you should deliberately take opportunity to interact with a more number of people. It can be many things. It can be students' union. It can be gossiping in cafeteria. It may be participating in drama or any other extracurricular activities. Actually, you should have a two life. One life for the student studying, one life for knowing people, understanding people, mixing with people, feeling for people, and working for people. I'll tell you the give, they say whether the Shivaji became director or his friend or my friend Saridas became IIT Ropar director or I became director, probably the 50% is there with the classes, but the 50% was with the credit goes to the Satyan Das canteen. Spending hours speaking to people, talking, arguing with people. In fact, when you with the friends you argue, you have always a tendency to prove yourself that you are better. And in the process, you learn new things. You know how to project your arguments, how to, win over people, how to, triumph over people, and how to be feeling for people. And this is very important, when these 4 years when you spend in there, you please discover yourself. Many of you do not know what is your strengths. You may be very good at photography, but nobody told you are a good photographer. Everybody told, no, तुमसे कुछ अच्छा photography नहीं होता है. You may be good singer, you may be good dramatist, you may be good debater, you may be good leader, and you may be good cyclist. You don't know what is your ability until unless you explore yourself, you try to analyze, you will find you have many abilities which you yourself were not knowing. Your parents were not knowing that you had those abilities. This is a beautiful sketch, by Ramkinkar Base, the great sculptor from Santiniketan era. And why this is a sketch he has drawn on a postcard. That is what his letter was in postcard letter. And you look at, it's a few lines. I'll just give you hints. The hind, you get a feeling two legs, but anybody in optics will tell you that the one leg will shadow another and you shouldn't be able to see the two legs. And you see two legs drawn one over another, and you get a feeling, you do not get a feeling that it is something abnormal over here. You see that just a few lines, with a one line he made the men of the horses. One line he made an eyelash. One line, with the two lines he made the seat of the horse. And the gallop and the speed and the grace of that horse, running horse, is brought out with only few lines. You may be thinking it's very simple. It is not. It is only possible to be drawn by Ramkinkar Bays or the people of this caliber. Many times, that many of our leaders, many of the, we think that if we explain things in a very complicatedly, that is shows how brilliant you are. I said, if somebody comes and explains a complicated thing in a complicated way, I call him stupid. If it's brilliant, he can be able to present even a complicated thing with a simplicity. How you can formulate, how you can explain to another person in a very simple way, and that is important. You please, in your answers, in your classes, in your argument, try to bring very simple analogies, the simple drawings, simple way of measurement. The great engineering are actually, you will see that they are actually great simplicity. I have seen many great hardware, space hardware. They're supposed to be very complicated. But you look at that, the people who made it, they made it in a very simple way. In fact, the most simple hardwares are the most reliable hardwares. That is what we must understand. The sign of brilliance is the simplicity with which you present your data, present your understanding, present your experiment. And if you make it a very complex, very complicated, I I guess that you have not understood the subject. Life, you don't know when you fail because nobody can predict. With the best of your intentions, with the best of your ability, you try. But you can fail. You just not only fail occasionally, you may fail one after another. That is called luck. When you have everything, when you think you have understood everything, but you still fail. That means there is something or missing. And the great leaders or winners are not those who have never failed in life. But these are the people, as you see that APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab, who was very fond of me, and he was one of the great simple person, and he summed up so nicely. The quitters can never winners. The losers can be winners. Even if you fail, you must try. You should not lose your, the attempts. You must make a newer and newer efforts to see that you succeed. You understand why you failed. The failing is a great teacher. You learn through. When you fail, you try to analyze your actions, your understanding, your preparedness, your experimentations, and you understood that yes, I have made this mistake, and then only fail. Science is a very logical thing. If you follow logically, you must have missed somewhat the logical process, and that is why you fail. That is how the life is. In life also, you may fail many times. You may not get a good job in the first attempt. Your first girlfriend may ditch you. In your family, even the parents who love you most, they may reject you. It can happen if you feel cheated by your best friend, whom you could not guess properly. Yes, you failed, but that doesn't mean, just because you got cheated by your best friend, you will not have make any more friends. Because you understand, how to understand a person as a friend and move on. Life is the moving on, learning, correcting, making things better. And these are the people, who succeed in life. All leaders have one common quality. They are never a quitter. In life, because it's not a straightforward. When you become the engineers have the two responsibilities, unlike the usual scientists, engineers have to manage the machine, have to manage the money, and have to manage the men. They have to be team leaders. So they have to take decisions in management. They have to take a technical decisions, and when it comes to the financial and the management decision, that they taking decisions about people, about machines. The decisions are very straightforward. It is either a right decision or a wrong decision, because uh, science works in a one unified way. If it works in one machine, it will work the same principle will work in another machine. Nobody can stop it. Newton's third law, if it applies in a Fiat car, it will apply in Mercedes Benz also. Nobody can stop it. It will apply in GSL engine, it will apply in SpaceX engine. But the management decisions, it is very difficult to find out what is right, what is wrong, because the human decisions are on a perspective, situations. It is the time. I give you an example. In my organization, there is a financial crunch and all. They had many bright people were telling that they're very lowly paid at the sweepers, and the cleaning staff, we should get rid of 50% cleaning staff because we don't have budget. And it's a perfect decision that if you don't have budget, cut your coat according to the cloth. So if you don't have budget of maintenance, you simply get rid of 50% of people which will support. But it is a right decision financially. But put yourself in that cleaning staff people, those who remain, they are the winners. But those who lose out, for them, what decisions will take? Now the question comes that there is a third way of deciding, it's an ethical decision. There are decisions which are right in one way, but wrong in when you think in different way. Then your decision should be on an ethical plane. The ethical plane is the decide that, okay, don't chuck off 50% of people, but employ people 50% of the time. So they gave half the salary, but if the suffering is distributed to all, instead of limiting to half of the people, the suffering was distributed to all, and everybody got partly suffered. And you see, this is a decision, which is a ethical decision. It is a better than a right or wrong. In fact, the ethics pervades everywhere. That when we present the data, many times, unfortunately, even the scientists and the engineers and the economists, just to please somebody, they present the data wrongly. And, which is very unethical practice. Somebody, interprets a rule in a fashion that you can misuse and financially you gain. But this is not going to stand. A country is known for that ethic. In fact, imagine that our space systems, if one fellow tells a lie, if I allow it to go, this lie will finally result into failure of a rocket or a explosion of a rocket or explosion of a satellite, of a failure of a very costly payload of camera radar. So it is ethically responsible for irrespective of the consequences. By reporting the wrong thing, even if the consequences are very bad, I may be punished, but still I should report that something has gone wrong. That is the ethically winning. And the whichever the what makes us slightly laggard with all our stocks of Satyameva Jayate, somewhere the ethical quotients are slightly lower. If I look at our failures on many fronts, it's not that we have not ability, not that we didn't have money, we didn't have resources, but somewhere down the line we compromised ethically. I will request to you, when you grow up, never compromise on ethics. When you compromise on ethics, finally you may gain, but you'll be harming the country. And remember that you people are the country's future. And if by your actions, the country is harmed, then that will be the worst thing will happen. For that, harming the country, you need not become engineer. There are many other ways to harm the country. We must know that our evolutionary theory, how a human being from quadruped to become biped. That in a almost now 170,000 years before, in Africa, the savanna grasslands came up. There was a severe cooling, and the sea was getting frozen. The rain got disturbed, and a human being which was moving on four legs, their existence was threatened. But then, there's a big trees in the Africa, Ethiopia, this region died. The Nile River, and the savanna grasslands came. And because the human being predecessors was another type of primate who were actually non-vegetarian, who used to hunt. So for them to see that other animals in the grassland, they have to raise themselves. They have to stand up in two legs and locate the animals. And that is how they became evolutionary, they became biped. And once they became, there is another evolutionary change has happened. That they lost hair, and all the hair follicles became sebaceous gland. So they are able to sweat and dissipate heat all around the body. Unlike other animals like cheetah or the dogs, they only dissipate heat through their tongues. That you will see, they'll be always dangling their tongue. The cats, they can dissipate. Cats, tigers can dissipate their heat only through their paws. You will see the cats, licking their paws all the time, given a chance, because that is how they do. The dissipation area in their body is less. And because of this, those animals which have a less heat dissipation, though they can take a sprint at a short distance, but they cannot run further. But human being, though they were not able to run faster than cheetah and other animals, but they had one advantage. They could sweat and dissipate their heat, so they could run longer. And in the game of a sustaining the hunt, human being became winner and they came to the top of the food chain. And that is the lessons from evolution, that human beings survived not because they were very agile. They were not agile than a lion. They were not as powerful as mammoth. They were not as fast-footed like any deer or antelope, but though they ran slower, they could run longer. That is, human beings' survival came out because of hard work. And that is the lesson. In life, nothing is free. If you think that you will come to NIT, spend some time, bunk classes and all, and you will get a degree somehow and you will get a cushy job and all, then you are mistaken. You have to struggle. In fact, all successful people are a very, very hard worker. Even the Elon Musk of Tesla, he sleeps 2 hours a day. And you will see the big political leaders, we may blame them and all, but you see how much in a day they move from one city to another and address people, meet so many people, risk their lives and all. But every day they do it. They're the great scientists, they spend hours in the lab. It is not a 1 hour I go to the lab and I become a great scientist. You have to spend days. In fact, personally, I'll tell you, when I was working on payloads, when I was leading the activities, we never used to leave the place till the job is not done. It has happened, days after days, nights after days, nights we have spent in labs. We have slept on the ground, and that is how we came up. There is no shortcut than a hard work. Please remember that why there is no easy way of doing things. If you have to learn something, you have to build something, you have to create something, you have to put effort. There is no shortcut. Many times, it's very funny, they say we quickly judge human beings' ability from their boastful nature. You'll see your friends, some fellows will come, they will boast. मैंने ये कर दिया, मैंने वो कर दिया, मैंने ये कर सकता हूँ. And we get carried away. You be aware, that is called a Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a psychological effect. It is people with expertise, they brag most. Also, people with the highest expertise, they brag most. So when a Steve Jobs brags, when a Elon Musk brags, when another great man contributor brags, it defeats them. But these people are very less. In normally competent people, they are very humiliated. They are very, very, they exhibit a great humility. They know today I am successful, but tomorrow I may be somewhere place. I may lose it. I may not be successful. The experience makes them not timid, but realistic in outlook. So the people who boast, most of them are actually incompetent people. And the life, when you choose people, this psychology principle, please remember that boastful people are not useful people. Many times people say whether attitude is good or the aptitude. In fact, I give a 50-50 to this, that you may be very bright, but you are not able to work in a team. You will be fit for working alone and you don't get it. I'll tell you that Tendulkar and Binod Kambli, they were the two great cricketers. Both came out from Acharyakar's training school. But there was a difference. Tendulkar, he will play whole days, 8 hours game, come back, take dinner, and start practicing on the dinner table till he used to sleep. Every free time in his daily life, Sachin Tendulkar will be always practicing. Whereas Binod Kambli was a go-getter, he was in film, he was on many things and all. At the end of the day, though both started as a great players for the Bombay team, Tendulkar became Bharat Ratna, Binod Kambli remained Binod Kambli. And they said it's not that Tendulkar may be gifted. God has given him that gift, but he has polished that gift by a hard work. This aptitude of doing things, whatever it takes to put that effort, is the great asset, and that makes you a great leader, great engineer, great sculptor, great painter, and all. You may have God might have given you the huge brain. You have a great cortex. You can understand very fast, but if you don't study, don't put effort, don't learn, you will be slowly and slowly slipping away with all the innate intelligence, all the God gifted thing will be wasted for no reason. So, a life attitude as well as aptitude both are important, and a positive attitude goes a long way in making you successful in your life. Many times we are not able to negotiate because whenever we do a meeting, whenever there's a technical decisions, or a financial decisions, management decisions, internal, international treaty and all, many times we lose out because we think we are inferior to others. There is a two different, being boastful is one thing, is a negative quality. Feeling inferior is a also negative quality. And why do we feel inferior? We feel inferior because we do not have a respect for ourselves. If you do not respect yourself, do you think that a neighbor's boy is going to respect you? Do you think in an international dealing, if you do not have self-respect, you take things lying down, then the foreign counterpart will become aggressive. They will run over you. You will lose out. So having a negative feeling about yourself is equally wrong than having a boasting for without a quality. These are the two extreme negative things you should avoid. And the best way is that you should respect yourself. You should be confident on your ability, confidence in your vocabulary. And the day you respect yourself, you will find that the way you project yourself to other is totally gets changed. And my sincere request to you is to never be disrespectful to yourself. Don't be disrespectful to others, but don't be disrespectful to yourself. I think that will be doing too much of negative things to you. I'll just play out this video. I hope the sound goes.
No, sir, audio is not there.
Audio is not coming?
Yes, sir. Audio is not.
Okay, just a video will watch that. This is what is passion. You know, a ballerina just 2 months before death, bound in wheelchair, and still she has not forgotten the moves. And it is in life, those who excel, there is a passion. A passion, it is something beyond your ability, or beyond your liking. It's like a maddening feeling to do that and to follow your profession, to follow what you are doing. And you see that people who are remembered in future are the people who execute their jobs with passion. It is something, it is if you want to excel, love the job. And I have seen one great scientist, even after retirement, he was doing that mathematical work and everything and publishing books and all. He could have gone into oblivion. What is there with a grandson and all who could have spent in parks and all. But he was still writing books, writing equations and solving. I have seen one great engineer, at the age of 60 learning a new language, computer language, because he had to solve some problem. And this is what is needed. A passion. If you love to do something, you will do it at whatever cost. In fact, the employees with a passion is difficult to get. You cannot get it by paying, just because organization has a huge money surplus and we pay heavily and we'll get it. No, passion is a trait. You cannot buy it and you cannot create it. It has to come from within. And more and more we become passionate of our work, you will see that you will lose the count of time, you will lose the count of food, and that is with an extreme liking. This situation happens, and you see that all excellent things come out of passion. Great musicians, great dramatists, great movie actors, great directors, great leaders, great scientists, great journalists. You see, they have one thing in common. They are passionately in love with the job they do. They do not distinguish that for their job they sacrifice their personal comfort, the personal difficulties, personal tragedies, and then continue to do that. And this is the key to excel. Our school system and our, the tuition system slowly and slowly making us zombie. In fact, I am in WhatsApp group with people of near 60, my friends, schoolmates, and all of this. Many of them lament, that their childhood was so nice. They have lost everything. They got money. They got big cars. They got big bungalows. They got a beautiful families. They, the difficulties of childhood is no more there, but still they long for that childhood which was difficult. You see, the nature has not changed. Sun rises in the same way. Trees are growing same way. The birds are chirping the same way. But why do you feel it? Because in the way of life, we start losing imagination. For creating things, what you need in imagination. I remember that Shankaracharya Puri was telling that one mantra, tantra, yantra. Everything, whatever see in the world, you may think that is built with a material. This is built with a silicon. This is built, but actually not. Everything in the world, what a human being has created for his comfort, for conquering nature, for excelling in their existence, it is actually has come out of a thought process. Somebody imagined things, and from the imagination, from they made a plan, they put scientific principle, and they made the product. Any product, any engineering output, it starts with an imagination. You have to plan. Only if you imagine, then only you can build it. And my request is that, come whatever way, but don't lose your imagination. You should give a free time. You should have a connect and to the nature. You should have you know, a feeling for people, and you should be able to utilize small things to do a great things. The great engineering is made out of imagination, made out of very, very simple. You see that this particular picture shows you that's a goddess Durga's enactment. You don't see the whole, all weapons, everything is very normal. But you see, just by imagination, they transformed in themselves to the Devis. And life is, there is one life. We don't know whether we'll get it again. And more, and you may study, you may become great thing, but never lose fun. In fact, that if you recount yourself, if you have watched movies, you will come back and tell that movie story ditto, every comma, full stop. But you ask yourself, you have actually watched for only 2 hours or 3 hours, and just imagine your textbook, you read only 2 hours and you remember everything. It is impossible. You'll say, no, I have to read it 3 times, 4 times to grasp it. And these two situations, that film was also no less complex. But why do you remember it? Because you watched the film with a pleasure. But why don't you remember your subject by reading for even 2 hours and 3 hours? Because you have not taken pleasure. That your study, you have taken as an hobby. You have not taken as a hobby. You taken as a something, as a torturous thing imposed on you. Imagine, your study you are doing in a such a way that it is a pleasure, and you will not forget. And if you spend less hours in understanding your subject or classes, you have a more free time available. You will see, the classmates, some of them will be scoring very well, but also pricking out, enjoying many other things in life. And there will be some of them, without doing any pricking out, always studying, but the scoring the same. The result is same. The one put so much effort, but he has no pleasure, so he lost out in life's beauty. And there is another person who put pleasure on everything what he did, so he could score the same marks with much less effort. But that doesn't mean he will understand less. Both will understand same. Having fun in life, fun in your friendship, fun in your existence makes you actually learning things much better. I say. And one more thing I would request you to please follow what your heart says. I remember, I wanted to be mathematician, but then everybody made me engineer because I scored high in the entrance exam and all of this. When the best thing in my working period, if you see, I have done the best things is that the very nice mathematical work. At the end of the day, you will end up doing what you love most. Many of the people, they think that unfortunately parents, they force you to become engineer. They force you, their peer pressure makes you force you to doctor or force you to management, but you may want to be something different. I think if you follow your heart, you will never regret. And and if you do not regret for doing something, then that is the greatest success in life. And my sincere request will be follow your passion and please follow your heart. You have to follow your brain, you have to be logical, but in life, many things are there which actually comes out of the heart. So if you feel that you have a talent in music, please pursue simultaneously. If you feel you have a talent in debating, please pursue it, because who knows, in life you may become something else. You may become great debater instead of an engineer, or even in engineering profession, your debating skill will come very handy. You are a great singer, you have a singing trait. You can, you become, the limelight of a party, and you will influence people much better than what you could have influenced with the dry engineering understanding. So follow your heart. That is one lesson. Now, it's a great picture I cherish, and our PM was touching the feet of Pranab Mukherjee, not when he was president, but not when he was not president. So when you have power, you have money, you see that so many people will be fawning you. कभी कभी आप लोगों ने, हम लोगों ने क्या, जब सीनियर होते हैं, जब हमारे हाथ पे पावर रहते हैं, जब हम चमचागिरी को सोचते हैं वो हमारा अच्छा दोस्त है. But you will find them that true color when you don't have power. You are really successful in life is one when you don't have power, but as people still respect you. That is the greatest success. Imagine, you have done a lot of corruption in your life. You got a big car, big bungalows, everything. In the old days, you may have everything, but your son will tell that you have stolen money from others. And all your properties, all your what you have gained in life, they become zero the moment you don't get respect. So getting respect in life, that should be the aim, which you can only do when you make a positive impact to your workplace, a positive impact to source. More and more positive impact you make to your society through your work, you will you don't have to repent. You may not earn much, you may not have big bungalows, but you may have a great success. In fact, still today, we fondly recollect our teachers who are no more. They were not earning more than me now or anything. If you put a real benchmark of success, for money, house, and all, they were failures. But I still call them successful because even in our personal conversation, we recollect those teachers who taught us great things, who made us what we are today. I think that getting respect when you don't have power is that ultimate of success, and that we should strive for. Many of us, for some reason lose ambition. अरे यार वो मेरे से तो होगा नहीं. But it is better to aim for stars. Maybe you cannot reach stars, but you may fly high above the ground. But you could not have flying above the ground if you have not aimed for the stars. It is important to have a high ambition. Never constrain yourself, with a low ambition. मेरे से ये नहीं होगा, मेरे से ये मैं उधर जा नहीं सकता. ये जॉब के लिए मेरे को एक थर्ड डेजर्ट पे रहना पड़ेगा साल पे, so I should not go to for that job. So I remember that I left Bengal and came to Ahmedabad. It was almost a semi-arid zone. Many people laughed. Where are you going? The Calcutta is such a beautiful place. You get everything. You have all the pleasures of life. There are very limited movie theaters. But today I don't regret, because my ambition was different because I wanted to make a mark in the space technology. I don't know whether I made a mark or not, but I am satisfied. Had I not taken that ambition, I would not have come to such a faraway place and start working on a space program today. Or today I would not have been talking to you had I not kept that ambition. Because in Calcutta, there was no space agency to fulfill my ambition. But that unfortunately, that space agency was there in the arid zone. And this is the last slide. This is that one Taittiriya Upanishad sloka I cherish from my school days in Ramakrishna Mission. And in fact, that this stanza of sloka, as and when I grew up in life, I grew up in my career, I started learning better and better. And I feel what a great one it is. Om Sahana Bhavatu. They say together we should move in our studies. Guru and Shishya. Sahano Bhunaktu. Let's say we together relish, enjoy what we study. Together may we perform with vigor. Let's say Sahabiryang Karavavavi. Tejasvi Nabadhita Mastu. Whatever we study with bring brilliance to our mind. We get illuminated with our knowledge, and there should not be feeling of hostility between teachers and the student. In fact, when your teacher teaches you, he also learns. In fact, one of my additional profession is also teaching. I teach different institutions, talk to people. Every time I teach, I learn something better. So when Guru and Shishya, they teach. One is Shishya is getting education and Guru is giving teaching, but learning is by both. So when you grow up in 4 years, your teachers also get illuminated. Even the same subject, when I teach 2 semesters, I teach two differently. I get a new meaning of the subject. And that is the beauty. And this 4 years should be a period of a beautiful relation of Guru and Shishya. And when you come out, make your alma mater proud by your action, by your contribution, by your knowledge. People should say that a NIT produced such a student and such a beautiful personality. Thank you very much.
Arif sir.
Yes. Any more questions or anything?
Yeah, not presently, sir, but they might have some queries. Uh, we can take it from the chat boxes or through email, and we can send you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, Dr. Manish, director sir is there.
No. Sir is in another meeting.
Oh, okay. So, thank you, Professor Misra, for such an amazing and wonderful motivational talk. You have reminded us the importance of being passionate about work. You have reminded us the importance of being ethically standard, and you have reminded us how
Yes.
to stand high, walk passionately. As you have mentioned, that let us allow our passion to become our purpose, and one day this purpose will become our profession. I'm sure the students have enjoyed this talk. We can see from the chat boxes that you are very happy with this amazing motivational talk by Misra. And
Sir,
once again, on behalf of the institute, we are extending our heartfelt thanks to you for being present today and blessing our students with your huge experience of life and professional experiences.
there is one question that how can we join ISRO after BTech?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You see that ISRO has a two-step recruitment process. That one is that a written exam. Written exam is a great standard, but the answers are yes, no, and the answers and what you see that the question is not exact solutions, but then your approach to the solution. And when it comes to interview, after the selection of interview, we disregard all your marks in the written exam. We disregard all your marks in the board exam. We disregard all your ranks in the colleges. We look at you at an interview. It is a only criteria for us then how you approach a problem. We don't want a solution, perfect solution, but what we need a good approach. Because engineering starts with a good approach, ends with a good approach, and the solutions is the automatic corollary to that. Satisfied you?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Dr. Naresh, is there another question they have?
Nothing. Please conclude.
Yes. Okay. Our students, whoever have such queries, will be getting in touch with Professor Misra, and we may mail him your queries, and I'm sure Professor Misra will be happy to answer your queries. He has tremendous experience, not only in the professional life, but in his own life, is a huge span of working experience. And once again, on behalf of the Institute, sir, we are extending our heartiest thankfulness to you. Please grace our students, bless them for a wonderful and happy life ahead, sir.
Thank you, and God bless you.
And from our behalf, we wish you a very good time. Stay safe and stay healthy, sir.
Thank you very much for your all the best good wishes, and God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So with this, we are concluding today's motivational talk episode. And finally, when before I say good evening to everyone, just I would like to remind you George Bernard Shaw's famous quote: "Happy is the man who is living by his hobby." Let's make a hobby a passion and live for it. With this, wish you a very happy